Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, who is the most merciful and beneficent. Respected sir and my dear viewers, Assalamu alaikum. I hope you all are doing very well. My name is Laiba Azhar and I am from the Department of PS Biochemistry. Today, the topic of my presentation is HPV vaccine and its contents include Introduction to HPV vaccine, its production, clinical trials, HPV vaccine safety and cancer prevention, HPV vaccine safety, its uptake, and latest research about it. First of all, I am going to tell you about virus. Virus is basically considered as the borderline of living and non-living organisms. They possess some characteristics of living and some characteristics of the non-living organisms. For example, the living characteristics include they have genetic material either in the form of DNA or RNA, and they can replicate themselves in the living organisms by using its host metabolic machinery. Metabolic machinery is basically enzyme system and proteins that are responsible for the metabolism. And the non-living characteristics include they can be crystallized and stored in bottles. During their application, they may produce disease in the host cell. There are several types of viruses, for example, influenza virus that cause common colds, bacteriophages that infects bacteria, and poliovirus and pox viruses are the common ones. Now moving on to HPV. HPV stands for human papillomavirus. A papilloma is a benign epithelial tumor that grows exophytically, which means outwardly projecting. It is a non-enveloped DNA virus, which means its genetic material is in the form of DNA and it do not have an outer protein covering. There are several hundred species of this virus referred to as types. For example, type 6, 11, 16 and 18 are the common ones. Some viruses are host specific, they can produce disease only in some organisms. The host of HPV is mammals and other invertebrates like birds, snakes, turtle and fish. So here is a picture of HPV. Now moving on to its effects. HPV is carcinogenic, which means it can cause cancer. Cancer is uncontrolled division of cells. HPV can cause cancer in various body parts, including oropharynx, that is a part of throat at the back of mouth, and oral cavity, known as oropharyngeal cancer. In reproductive parts, including cervix, vulva, vagina, penis, and anus. Now the question is how HPV causes infection. When the virus affects a living cell, it usually causes mutation in its DNA and transform it, due to which the cell begin to divide in an uncontrollable manner. It infects the squamous cell that lines the inner surface of these organs. For this reason, most HPV-related cancers are called squamous cell carcinoma, and some cervical cancers come from HPV infection of gland cells in the cervix and are known as adenocarcinoma. Now, its prevalence. Worldwide, the burden of HPV cancers is much greater. High-risk HPV causes about 5% of all cancers, with an estimated 570,000 women and 60,000 men getting an HPV cancer each year. Cervical cancer is the most common cancer and a leading cause of cancer-related death in low and middle-income countries. Now moving on to its mode of transmission. It is transmitted from one person to another through intimate skin-to-skin touching by having oral or vaginal sex with the infected person, or from mother to infant during the birth. Now, what is a vaccine? A vaccine is used to get immunity against a disease before the toxin or microorganism infects the healthy cells. It usually consists of weakened or killed toxins or antigens, which upon injecting activates white blood cells to produce antibodies that kills the toxin and make us immune against a disease. Antigen is basically made up of two words, anti and gen. Anti means antibodies and gen means generation. So antigen generates antibodies. To avoid the risk of getting HPV, we use HPV vaccine. Now the main topic of my presentation, HPV vaccine. Used to get immunity against human papillomavirus. Recently approved HPV vaccine targets the HPV strain responsible for approximately 70% of cervical cancer and 90% of the genital warts. Genital warts are small flesh colored swellings in the genital areas. The most commonly used vaccine against HPV is known as Gardasil. Now, moving on to its composition. Gardasil is composed of proteins of different HPV types, aluminum hydroxyphosphate sulfate, that helps the body to build stronger immunity against germ in the vaccine. Yeast proteins stimulate and modulate host immune response. Sodium chloride, a salt that acts as preservative or stabilizer. So here are the structure of aluminum hydroxyphosphate and yeast protein. It also contains L-histidine, an amino acid that improves pH stability and reduce antigen hydrolysis. Polysorbate 80. Its molecular formula is C64H124O6. It increases solubility of one agent in other. Sodium sorbate, that is a salt, it also acts as preservative and water for injection. So here is chemical formula of L-histidine, polysorbate 80 and sodium borate respectively. Now the mechanism of action of HPV vaccine. Gardasil is a non-infectious virus-like particle and it involves the development of humoral immune response in which antibodies are produced by the beta cells that are the type of white blood cells and cause the destruction of antigens or toxin by binding to it and neutralizing its poisonous chemical composition or by destroying them by lysis or bursting. Clinical efficacy. In the field of medicine, clinical efficacy is the ability of an intervention, that may be a drug or surgery, to produce the desired beneficial effect. More than 98% of the recipients develop an antibody response to HPV types included in the respective vaccines. HPV vaccines are highly immunogenic. Now, vaccine production. It is produced by using a technique of genetic engineering known as recombinant DNA technology. In this method, first we isolate the HPV genetic material by a suction pipette and a glass needle that holds the virus in place. After the isolation, it is inserted into the bacterial cell. Bacterial plasmids are the extra chromosomal rings present in the bacteria and they have capability to divide. In this way, recombinant plasmid is formed. It is named recombinant because it has combination of two different DNAs. When it is used in a vaccine, the DNA is expressed in mammalian cell that then produce an HPV antigen which further produces antibodies. The other method of vaccine production is using a protein that resides on the virus surface which is grown in lab in yeast cell and assembles itself to look like HPV virus, but it do not contain viral genetic material and cannot produce illness. Now the clinical trials that are very important. HPV vaccine is designed to protect against human papillomavirus, a sexually transmitted infection that can lead to cervical, anal, and other types of cancer, as I have already discussed earlier. Clinical trials and post marketing surveillance are essential for evaluating and safety and effectiveness of the HPV vaccine. Clinical trials of the HPV vaccine typically involve several phases. Phase 1 trials evaluate the safety and dosage of the vaccine in small group of healthy individuals. Phase 2 trials involve a larger group of people and evaluate the vaccine safety and effectiveness. And the phase 3 trials are the largest and most rigorous, involving thousands of people to assess the vaccine's safety and effectiveness in preventing HPV-related disease. Once a vaccine is approved for use, post-marketing surveillance is necessary to monitor its safety and effectiveness in the general population. Post-marketing surveillance includes monitoring for any adverse events that were not detected during clinical trials and tracking the long-term effectiveness of the vaccine. Its data is used to inform any necessary changes to the vaccine labeling, dosing, or other aspects of its use. Clinical trials and post-marketing of the HPV vaccine are typically conducted by the vaccine manufacturer in collaboration with regulatory agencies such as US Food and Drug Administration and the European Medicines Agency. Additionally, public health agencies may also monitor vaccine safety and effectiveness through surveillance systems such as the vaccine adverse event reporting systems. Overall, clinical trials and post marketing surveillance are critical for ensuring trial safety and effectiveness of the HPV vaccine and for identifying any potential risk associated with its use. Now, HPV vaccine safety. The HPV vaccine has been extensively tested in clinical trials and is generally considered safe. However, as with all vaccines, there is a risk of some side effects. The most common ones include mild pain, redness, and swelling at the injection site, as well as headache, fever, and nausea. Rare events. There have been rare reports of serious side effects associated with HPV vaccine, including Guillain-Barré syndrome and autoimmune disorders. Guillain-Barré syndrome. It is a rare neurological disorder that can cause muscle weakness, numbness, and in several cases paralysis. Autoimmune disorders. These disorders occur when the body's immune system attacks healthy cells and tissues. The link between HPV vaccine and Guillain-Barré syndrome is still being studied, but the current evidence suggests that the vaccine risk is very low. According to the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, there have been very few reports of such syndrome after the vaccination, and the risk of developing the condition is similar to that of other vaccines. Similarly, there have been some reports of autoimmune disorders as well after the vaccination, but the evidence suggests that the risk is very low. It is important to note that the risk of serious side effects from the vaccine are generally outweighed by the benefits of protection against HPV related cancers and other diseases. Anyone who has concerns about the HPV vaccine or its potential side effects should talk to their healthcare provider. Now, its uptake. Some vaccines require multiple doses given in weeks or months apart. This is sometimes needed to allow for the production of long lived antibodies and development of memory cells. In this way, the body is trained to fight the basic specific disease causing organism, building up memory of the pathogen so as to rapidly fight it if and when exposed in future. Gardasil is a shot that is usually given in the arm muscle. You will need 3 shots given on the following schedule. Shot 1, named as dose 1 at the date you and your healthcare provider choose. Dose 2, 2 months after the dose 1, and the third and the final dose 3, 6 months after dose 1. Fainting can happen after getting Gardasil. Sometimes people who faint can fall and hurt themselves for this reason. Your healthcare provider may ask you to sit or lie down for 15 minutes after you get Gardasil. Some people who faint might shake or become stiff. This may require evaluation or treatment by your healthcare provider. Make sure that you get all the 3 doses on time so that you get the best protection. Opportunities and challenges. Despite the proven effectiveness of the HPV vaccine in preventing HPV related cancers and other diseases, vaccine uptake remains a challenge in many countries. There are several challenges that need to be addressed to improve HPV vaccine uptake as well as opportunities to promote vaccination. The challenges include lack of knowledge and awareness. Many people, including parents, are unaware of the benefits of HPV vaccine or may have a misconception about it. The second one is cost. The cost of the vaccine may be a barrier for some families, especially in low income countries. The third one is stigma. HPV is a sexually transmitted infection, and some people may feel uncomfortable discussing it or getting vaccinated. The fourth one is access. Access to the vaccine may be limited in some areas, especially in rural or remote areas. Opportunities. Education and awareness campaigns. Education and awareness campaign can help to increase knowledge and awareness of the HPV vaccine and its benefits. These campaigns can be target providers and the general public. The second one is vaccine financing. Governments and organizations can provide financial assistance to make the vaccine more affordable for the families in low income countries. The third one is school based vaccination. These programs have been shown to be effective in increasing vaccine uptake as they provide easy access to the vaccine for students. The fourth one is provider education. Healthcare providers can play a key role in promoting vaccine uptake by providing education and counseling to parents and patients as well. The fifth one is partnership and collaboration. The collaboration between government agencies, healthcare providers, and community organizations can help to address the challenges of vaccine uptake and promote vaccination. Overall, improving HPV vaccine uptake requires a comprehensive approach that addresses all the challenges of vaccine access, cost, and awareness, while also aging opportunities such as school based vaccination programs. The last point is latest research. There is ongoing research into ways to improve HPV vaccine coverage, its delivery in low and middle income countries where the access to vaccine is limited. Here are some recent developments. The number one is heat stability. The vaccine currently needs to be stored and supported at very low temperatures, which can be challenging in lower and middle income countries with limited refrigeration capacity. There is ongoing research into the development of heat stable HPV vaccines that can be stored at higher temperatures. The second one is dose sparing strategies. Another challenge in lower and middle income is the low cost of HPV vaccine. Dose sparing strategies such as reducing the number of doses required or using smaller doses could help to reduce cost and increase vaccine coverage. Research is ongoing to evaluate the safety and effectiveness of these strategies. The third one is delivery strategy. Innovative delivery strategies such as community based vaccination programs, mobile vaccination clinics, and school based vaccination programs have been shown to be effective in increasing its coverage. The fourth one is targeted vaccination. Targeting vaccination to high risk populations such as girls in low income or middle income communities could help to improve vaccine coverage and reduce the burden of HPV related disease. Research is ongoing to identify the most effective ways to target vaccination in different settings. And the fifth one is improved access to screening. In addition to vaccination, screening cervical cancer is also important in preventing HPV related disease. Research is ongoing to identify ways to improve access to screening in lower and middle income countries, such as through the use of low cost, easy to use tests. Overall, ongoing strategies, ongoing research in the development of HPV vaccine, dose sparing strategy, delivery strategies, targeted vaccination, and improved access to screening has the potential to significantly improve HPV vaccine coverage and reduce the burden of HPV related disease in lower and middle income countries. So thank you so much for watching this video. Do like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel below.